Galistio's Cobalt 16 gig arcade image, and it has all the things you're probably going to want: Neo Geo, Nintendo, Sega Genesis, Super Nintendo, Super Famicom, and a nice little arcade ROM set, all packed in RecalBox for the Raspberry Pi 3B. Not the B plus, but it's going to run really great. RecalBox, super user friendly, and with that small 16 gigabyte size, you're going to be able to fit it on these really tiny SD cards. You might even have some lying around the house. So let's go ahead and check this one out. All right, we're going to mute the volume here. How to set up your controls: you just want to go up on the D-pad, down D-pad, left D-pad, right D-pad, left analog up to the left, right analog up and to the left, A, B, X, and Y. Start and select, and then here you want, I'm actually going to do it a little differently. You could do shoulder, shoulder, bumper, bumper, or you can reverse those if you want, depending on how you want to use those triggers or bumpers. And then L3, LR is just clicking in your analog sticks right and left. And for your hotkey, go ahead and hit select. And here we are, we're on the image here. And we do need to change the language. So we're going to hit start on our controller, then go to the second option, click A, options of the system. It shows you what version we're on. It's a 12 gigabyte image. Wow, so small. And then what we want to do is go down to idioma here and go to English. Fachar. Let's fetch it. Okay, and then it should reboot on its own. And then the other thing we're going to do is turn off the music as well by pressing start, going to sound, and music off. So after you're done setting it up, in case you're wondering about the file size as well, it's 14.8 gigabytes at 15,931,540,000 bytes. So it's kind of on the brink of the 16 gigabyte. You might need a 32. I have it on a 32 because I don't actually own a 16 gigabyte SD card, but do know that as far as the space that it will require on a micro SD. And as you see here, we are running RecalBox, and I changed a couple of the settings that you saw already, but I also did some of the theme settings here in the UI. I still have it on the Alex full, but I changed this to, that's the same. I kept the SNES controller, but I went to a vertical wheel instead of a vertical right. Vertical wheel is more like a track mode. I don't know, I kind of like it. I think it's cool. So that's really easy to change right there. A couple other things is Kodi is on here, and you can overclock this really easily as well under advanced settings. You have a couple of overclock settings in here as well. Add new controllers. Everything is in here. It's very easy to use. That's one of the benefits of RecalBox. Now, overall, I really like this. I think 16 gigabyte images are great because we don't have a lot of them. And then as well as RecalBox, we don't have a lot of these that are pre-configured and really well made. And Galistio making a lot of videos and a lot of images, you know that, he's gonna find mistakes and fix them and make sure everything's working well, and other people are going to find mistakes, as you've seen in the comment section below. And so a lot of those things have been addressed. Something that I think right off the bat, what most people are not going to like, is that you might notice there's two Nintendo folders here. One is for Nintendo US European games, and the other is for Portuguese titles. Now, I think the majority of you are not going to want the Portuguese titles. So I might recommend two things to you if you do want to get rid of them, if it really bugs you. Number one is if you just hit select on your controller. You go down to update, edit this game's metadata. Then you go down, there's a little delete button already. You just go down and delete. And you can just go through and delete them really quick if there's games you don't want. There's probably it's going to take you a little bit of time. There's about 100 or so, depending on the category. There, between Super Nintendo and Nintendo, because there's a Super Nintendo as well. Or you could just network into your Pi really easily, or you could just hide them. There's a way to just turn them on hidden as well, the same kind of way you hit select. So you have a couple of options there. For me, I would probably just hide them or do the network thing. Moving forward, it does pack a lot of games nonetheless, so let's go ahead and start with favorites. Let's see what some of his favorite games are. I'm already at the bottom here. Let's go backwards to forwards here. I'm going to go up. So it is packing 37 systems and 6,024 games. So let's go ahead and see what we have here. Super Nintendo 829, Brazilian Super Nintendo's 138, Super Famicom 259, NES 1,216. So a lot of those are going to be hacks and things as well. So if you can imagine it, it's probably on there. Nintendo 168 Brazilian titles, Sega Master System 291, Tech Toy Games 41 games here. Sega Mega Drive 904, Sega Mega Drive Brazil Portuguese 97, Neo Geo 171, Capcom we have 72 games. This is going to be your CPS 1, 2, and 3. It's going to be your Street Fighter Alpha, all that good stuff. Street Fighter Alpha 2, 3, Warriors, all that good stuff. The Punisher. Okay, then we got MAME. We got 346. Then we have MAME 2010, 397. So that's running the MAME 2010 core. And then we have MAME hacks, 16 of these. So some of those Championship Edition hacks. Sunset Riders. I wonder what the difference is between that hack version. And you have the Japanese version of Punisher versus the US. And then you have all of your different publishers here. Ban Presto, all that good stuff. So you're going to find some good shoot 'em ups, fighter games, all sorts of stuff. All right, it just keeps going down, 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 all the way back to favorites. So they call this the arcade build. So the 16 gigabyte arcade build. Let's go ahead and check this out. All right, Michael Jackson's Moonwalker. Great game, by the way. Something that amazes me is just the load time on these images compared to some of the RetroPie builds are so impressive. It just works really fast. Like, this is all real time. I haven't sped up this video at all. So this is Michael Jackson's Moonwalker. Great game. Uh-oh, I did my special. Heyo. It's a great game, by the way. I beat it. I beat it on stream. It's on one of my videos somewhere. You got to save the kids. Speaking of Michael Jackson, didn't he just release a oh, and then the monkey turns you into this guy, into Robot Michael. Michael, didn't he just released a music video, right? On YouTube? Yeah. And this game's pretty fun, and ooh. So, highly recommend it. Start select out. Super, like, it's really clean. Like, RecalBox is nice. I mean, people keep asking me, like, Drew, what's the difference? What's better? You know, it's really tough. But to me, I kind of want to say it's kind of like Android versus iPhone in a way, where, like, I might say RetroPie is like Android in that it supports a lot more things. You can hack it more. You can do a lot more things with it. It's got way more development and third-party development, where the iOS is just super streamlined and super easy to use, but it's more limited as far as what you could do with it. I don't know. I just made that up, and it sounds really good to me. So maybe you guys disagree with me, but that's been my experience with RecalBox versus RetroPie. So let's just try Raiden 2. And if you want to build your own, that's great too. RecalBox is free. You can download it and then just add the games you do want. So this is a vertical game, so there's no bezels, but it's not stretching. And oop, wrong button. That's bomb. Ooh, you got close. Let's go for accuracy here. How many bullets does it take? Ooh, purple. I'm not gonna go for accuracy anymore because this gun you gotta fire it up and do the chain reaction. There we go. Now we're talking. Okay, so this image is not very different from the 60. Actually, it is quite a bit different as far as what it's packing. But my understanding is it's probably the same base image, and he just shaved off quite a bit of the games. And it seems that he's going for like an arcade-only type of thing, which makes sense. I see a lot of people getting into retro gaming because of arcades, because arcades are really expensive, right? Where, you know, you can buy a Nintendo or a Super Nintendo fairly, for now at least, fairly inexpensively. And so, dang it. I really think the arcades is what brings people in, into retro gaming specifically, into the emulation. I'm sorry. And with that, this image being a arcade only and people on a budget, you're talking under $100 versus no way you can get an arcade cabinet working and all that good stuff for under $100. And this is going to play a ton of arcade games. So, with all that said, thumbs up. I'm going to give this one I'm going to give it a B+. I got to take off some points because of the Portuguese games. But I mean, the dude is making it for himself, so I can't really, I'm not knocking him for that. I'm just saying for the majority of my viewers, you know, do realize that I think a lot of people are going to be like, what is this? Why is there a Brazilian flag there? And why is it in Portuguese? And why is there two different types of Nintendos here? As I mentioned earlier in the video, it's really easy to clean up, but do know it is there, and it will be there when you first boot. You can definitely change that, and that's just why. Other than that, the functionality, the game choices, it's pretty much the full ROM sets. It's really nice. It's optimized. It looks good. It's on the latest updated RecalBox. Not much else to add. So with all that said, that's what I think. Let me know what you guys think. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one.